Hi, health science students. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about minors. And as you can see on Blackboard, I've listed both some common minors that a health science student would get, as well as the full list of minors offered at North Central College, as you may want a minor that fits more of something you care about. So let's talk about minors in general. The health science major, whether you're a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science, does not require you to have a minor. Instead, I would highly recommend for you to get one. But again, in order to graduate, you don't have to declare one. Let's talk credit hours and kind of some of the nitty gritty there. So you need 128 credit hours to graduate with a degree at North Central College. If you take the exact sequence of health science courses that are laid out and all the general education in the perfect way that is laid out on the health science template, you're going to have about 76 credit hours for a Bachelor of Science and 70 credit hours for a Bachelor of Arts completed. Again, you need 128 credit hours. So that leaves a really large gap. You have to take more classes in order to get your degree. Let's add then in prerequisite courses. So for instance, if you were interested in applying to physician assistant school, you do know that you need to take courses outside of the health science major in order to meet the prerequisites in order to apply to grad school for physician assistant. In doing all of the physician assistant courses that you would need in order to be prepared to apply to graduate school, that still takes you to about 108 credit hours. So again, you still have 20 more credits that you need to get in order to graduate. So my question for you is, do you want to do something deliberate with the remaining credit hours? I would encourage you to think of the minor in order to be a thing to deliberately focus the remaining credit hours you have on something that matters to you. So also, please remember, a minor does not cost extra as long as you are within the full-time credit hours per semester, you don't go on overload to accomplish it, and you're still within those 128 credit hours with full-time student status. It doesn't cost you extra to do this. Minors generally require around 16 to 18 credit hours. Some are a little bit more, up to 24, some are a little bit less. But you're really looking at about 5 or 6 classes in order to minor in something. A minor should be declared by around the end of your sophomore year or beginning of your junior year. But it's okay to declare one earlier or a little bit later if that meets your sequence better. A minor allows you to add training in another discipline. It should be a very intentional decision. You should think about the field of study that you want. What do you want to do with the health science degree? And what additional training or knowledge might best serve you as an applicant to graduate school or as a future healthcare professional? Think about skills, values, your own interests, and the job outlook of the area that you're specifically looking at, and think about what would help me in this area. What would excite me to learn more about while you have the opportunity to gain your degree, and what moving forward might help you in your future career. There's sort of 3 paths of thought of how to select a minor. So I'm going to tell you all 3, and hopefully you connect with one. Number 1, some people choose a minor that will help them complete their graduate school prerequisites. This is something, an example is if you want to go into occupational therapy and you're a health science major, you will notice that after you do the health science courses plus the graduate school admissions requirements, you are only 1 class away from minoring in psychology. So some people choose to pick up that psychology minor that are also interested in occupational therapy, as it's a very easy minor to pick up and it helps you complete those prerequisites. That's a classic example. Second, you may choose a minor that complements your chosen healthcare professional by gaining training in a complementary area. So example, minoring in psychology or sociology can help you gain insight into human motivation and behavior. Coursework for a minor in English or the fine arts has been shown to foster empathy for healthcare professionals. Or perhaps studying a foreign language like Spanish can help you communicate with a large population of US patients. So again, these are complementary minors to your interest in health science. So that's the second reason people choose a minor. Third outlook of why you would choose a minor is an area you have passion for. So this is the time to develop and cultivate that passion. If you have a specific interest that you want to explore more and it's totally outside the health science major, this could be a way and a time in your life to explore it. It's a way also that you could set yourself apart in a graduate interview or in the future profession, that you have this unique thing about you, that you had this minor that doesn't necessarily relate to healthcare, but it's something that you're passionate about and it makes you uniquely you. A great example of this is an occupational therapy student that I had the pleasure of working with. She applied to OT schools and she majored in health science at her institution. This was not a North Central student. She came from Minnesota, actually, but she majored in health science, but she minored in dance and creative movement. She was a dancer her whole life. She loved dance. She absolutely just had a passion for this area. So she minored in it in college. Had nothing to do with health science. But when she got to her graduate school interviews, this was something that stood out on her application. And it was a talking point that they said, why did you minor in dance and creative movement? What is that? And it got her to share her passion with the committee. And it also made them remember her. Oh gosh, that's an interesting thing about that individual. And they've got this unique thing about them. So also another reason or another type of thing you could minor in of just, I want to explore a passion of mine. Some words of caution though, as you're selecting a minor. Before committing, make sure that you have time in your schedule to complete the involved coursework. You do not want the minor to detract from your academic performance for your major. So make sure that you don't think it's actually going to bring that GPA down. Also think about your other interests. Are you an athlete? Are you involved in extracurriculars? Are you involved in a paid work or volunteer activities? This may limit your time and availability to complete minor coursework and also focus specifically on a certain area. So make sure you think about your other interests with this. So again, this is your chance to determine what would best serve you as an individual and where do you want to gain some additional discipline-specific training. A minor can be a really powerful thing for that. Have fun, allow yourself to explore these opportunities, and I'm happy to talk through things with you once you feel like you narrow in on a few minor paths. All right, enjoy.